Unit objective. The objective here is to explain how World War I and World War II propaganda posters are a prime example of visual rhetoric. What is visual rhetoric? Visual rhetoric is the fairly recent development of a theoretical framework describing how visual images communicate as opposed to oral, verbal, or other messages. Examples of visual rhetoric include television commercial ads, billboard ads, op ads, and posters. What is propaganda? According to Oxford Dictionaries Online, propaganda is defined as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or World War I and World War II. World War I and World War II propaganda posters are a prime example of visual rhetoric. Propaganda is a method used to lure in audiences to convince them to act a certain way. The messages are mostly untruthful but, nevertheless, very effective. Propaganda can be used to persuade millions of people to follow a single person. Propaganda from World War I and II posters exemplifies how effective visual rhetoric can be. Posters from both sides of the war motivated millions of civilians to enlist in the military. Posters relied on the negative caricatures and the exaggerated illustrations of enemy forces to persuade intended audiences to fight against these portrayed monsters. Examples such as the Liberator from the Germans and the Mad Brute from the United States demonstrate how truthful and accurate representation can be thrown out the window, so to speak. We will see this in slides 6 and 7. Rhetorical techniques. Positioning. The deliberate placement of objects or surroundings in the backgrounds, foregrounds, and focal points to convey a message. Font variations. The intentional usage of different font colors, shapes, and sizes to illustrate a point. Exaggerated features. The purposeful lampooning or caricaturing of military leaders or military soldiers. Slide 6. Destroy the Mad Brute. Positioning plays a huge role by the careful depiction of the different backgrounds, foregrounds, and center or focal points. This is demonstrated well in the Mad Brute poster. The background represents Europe, while the middle of the image signifies the Atlantic Ocean, and the foreground depicts the American mainland, where the German military have been shown to have crossed to invoke fear in all Americans. According to the notes on this poster, "Destroy the Mad Brute, enlist U.S. Army" is the caption of this World War I propaganda poster for enlistment in the U.S. Army. A dribbling, mustachioed ape wielding a club bearing the German word culture and wearing a pickelhaube helmet with the word militarism is walking onto the shore of America while holding a half-naked woman in his grasp, possibly meant to depict liberty. This is a U.S. version of an earlier British poster with the same image, dated circa 19. The Liberators. This is a 1944 Nazi propaganda poster titled Liberators, which perfectly epitomizes many perennially recurring themes of anti-Americanism, published in 1944 by the Dutch SS Storm magazine that then belonged to a radical SS wing of the National Socialist movement in the Netherlands.